I like maths. Maybe you couldn't tell. And I need to tell you now that 12 is not only a really cool number, it's a Pell number, a regular number, a pronic number. Unfortunately not a Fibonacci number, but definitely a highly composite number. In fact, even a superior highly composite number. It says it right here, take a look. All jokes aside, yes, they were jokes. What the does it mean to be a highly composite number? A composite number is one that can be divided into another integer by some integer that isn't itself or 1. So basically every number that isn't prime, except 1. But highly composite? Extra composite? How can something be extra composite? If you do a very quick Google search and the AI function overwhelms your screen, it will tell you that apparently they are numbers which have more factors than any number before it. And the AI says the truth, nothing but the truth. So there you go. Yes, I also looked up superior highly composite and it started spouting Greek letters with very little in way of explanation. So you can figure it out, but in case you couldn't tell, I don't care. But this all tells me, how much do we fabricate patterns out of nothing? I can make a list of numbers. These will be called tens and sims numbers. These numbers are when you get a perfect number, put it to the power of a prime, and if that number is divisible by a narcissistic number, when also put to the power of a prime, then it is a part of its set. I don't know if any numbers fit that bill, but let's pretend there are. Some of these are useful, don't get me wrong, but I feel like anything, any group of things, are so multifaceted in this universe that you can pretty much come up with some similar characteristic that would fit in anyway, with justification. New York Times has this funny web game where you have 16 words and need to categorize them into 4 groups. And there is a right and wrong answer. I'm terrible at that game because I seem to see patterns that make sense to me, but might be convoluted, grasping at straws, or otherwise not the intended solution by whoever made it. Same with IQ tests. Logical reasoning shows me 4 squares with dots in the square. Now the next item in the pattern could have a dot rotate 90 degrees, but it could also have the dot do something else. And there's almost a degree of certainty, like a normal distribution, about confidence in the pattern being it, so to speak. If you had 50 patterns where the dot went only back and forth each time, you would be pretty confident that that was the pattern the test maker intended. But if you have a smaller sample, i.e. this, then it's not as clear, and I could easily fabricate some pattern that technically fits, but it's not intended. Where there's the line drawn, it is evident enough from any coincidental other patterns that it is clear to an individual that this is the intended solution. There is grey area here and it makes everything just a little less clear in these situations. If I'm wrong and every single maths category does have a genuine purpose, that it is quantitative, not qualitative, then please enlighten me. But what can we do to help this? IQ tests, games, puzzles are lost causes. You can't do the UCAT entry test and see a bunch of lines on the screen and tell me that a bunch of lines A fits, but a bunch of lines B doesn't. I see an even number of lines in the control and maybe a same number of lines that B has, but A doesn't have that. Why would that not be the right answer? See, I made my own pattern, but it just wasn't what the adjudicator was looking for. With more practical applications though, we can be explicit about what our expectations are. We can also jury duty this problem by justifying our perspective and understand that this universe is imperfect and there are an uncountable number of particles whizzing around all over the shop. So this will be inevitable. This will inevitably happen. But by enabling a reason why X is true and Y isn't, even if both X and Y fit, we can have a greater understanding of the problem in its entirety and empathize with each unique perspective of the problem provided.